Apparently, I offended the entire Shinobi Alliance with my ship takes in my Exposing the Truth About Naruto Ships, my Unfiltered Opinion video, so let's talk about it. Trigger warning, more Naruto ship truths ahead. Welcome to DAYDAY'S, a channel where I dive into all things apparently controversial, from anime hot takes to reviews of your favorite webcomics and popular media. If you're new here, welcome to the Daylight Union. There's always something fun happening around here, you sparkling individuals. Now, let's clear something up before the pitchforks come out. In my last video, a lot of people got very bothered that I listed some guilty pleasure ships, which honestly, I'm not even guilty about, during my 60-second speedrun segment. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I will link the video below so you can just skip right to that segment. It's all timestamped for easy navigation. But I did want to make this very clear. I am not promoting anything weird in real life. I'm talking about fictional ships and what makes them interesting in fanfiction or character studies, not real life dynamics. When I said Minato and Sakura or Kakashi and Sakura, I meant older Sakura, as in post 18 years of age, in a fanfiction setting that explores the character dynamics, not canon relationships. That's literally the fun of fandom, exploring the what-ifs of stories and characters. It's only a problem if people cannot separate fiction from reality. Because let's be honest, if you see something like that in real life, say something, because that's definitely weird. Honestly, I should make a whole separate video about media literacy, because there's a troubling trend where some people can't separate fiction and reality, and instead of having an open discussion or just happily not liking something and moving on, they choose to harass people online instead. Like, we could all be tackling some actual issues on the internet, but apparently targeting self-aware fans is the priority. Now that we've cleared that up, let's move on before someone writes a 3-paragraph Reddit essay in the comments about it. For this video, I'm going to make some simple but complicated doodles that I wanted to make instead of the chibi heads that I did last time. Thought I'd switch it up a bit, so let's get started. So I am separating the ships by segments and judging them by my impression on whether it's realistic, cute, chaotic, or straight insanity, and whether it's doable in fanfiction land, thus creating an alternative universe. First on the list is the canon adjacent. Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura. I feel like this ship is the peak of everybody winning at the end of the day, which also solves a lot of shipping war discourse. Plus, imagine the power behind these three in power and politics, top tier. The next generation would basically be broken. That being said, I really gave this one some deeper thought because I thought, but wait, would it really be all harmony and kumbaya with these three? Because I feel like there would be some hurdles to overcome in the dynamic. Now, it's obvious that Sasuke's forever person is Naruto, and Naruto getting to win the woman he loves and have his man, his bestie, Sasuke by his side, his true dream. Like, it can work. I can see it happening. Like, I see the vision, but Sasuke would have to put in effort in this relationship, and I don't mean towards Naruto. Let me explain. Canon-wise, I can see Naruto kicking Sasuke out of the bedroom because of some stupid shit he perceived Sasuke doing, while Sakura would try to keep the peace. But I also see Sakura bending over backwards too much for Sasuke, even when he doesn't even deserve it. So I feel like Naruto would make sure that Sakura doesn't lose herself around Sasuke, and Sakura in turn would ground Naruto in reason and redirect his energy properly. However, the truer issue with this pairing, I think, is that I can't see Sasuke acting as anything other than cordial with Sakura. Protective for sure, even friendly at times, but romantic? I just can't see it, I'm sorry. Because even in canon, in Naruto and Boruto, that man has more enthusiasm for a tuna sandwich than Sakura and his daughter. It would be Naruto having to show Sakura affection and affirmation, which she would love, but she would feel neglected by Sasuke and pretty much bury her feelings and pretend that everything is fine, and Naruto would hate Sakura not being herself. See where I'm going with this? So it's not a bad couple, but it does need work, and Sasuke needs to put in the effort. Some people might argue that it's Sakura who will have to actively show her love for Naruto, but that's not true in the manga. While Naruto might act silly, Sakura loves that man and looks warmly at him, especially because of how much of a genuinely good person he is. Naruto is Sakura's best friend just as much as Sasuke's is Naruto. Their team bond is hella strong, especially because it's been them versus the world for nearly 2 years. You'd need to find like a really good writer to keep the balance equal between all of them and realistically portray them as they would be in canon. But other than that, this one has potential and it's pretty good. Like it keeps the peace in the fandom. But like I said, you're really gonna have to make this work. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this throuple. Rock Lee and Sakura. Here they are, everyone's favorite non-canon couple. Honestly, I can't believe I forgot about this one in my last video because this particular couple is a viable and very cute one. I can see genuine lasting love here. And if Sakura is not impressed with his eyebrows despite liking the rest of the package, she can either style them or give Lee the pink wife effect, similar to the black wife effect. But honestly, I can see the eyebrows growing on her eventually and, you know, her just admitting defeat and blurting out that they're cute one day when she didn't mean to say it out loud. I agree with many that this couple is elite because the way Rock Lee would treat Sakura like the fucking queen that she is and never neglect her, always giving her support and attention, validation, even to the point where it might publicly embarrass her sometimes. But I know Sakura would eat that shit up, especially if Lee tries to be suave about it. And Sakura in turn would always support Lee, defend him, especially if other people talk smack about his eyebrows and personality and lack of chakra usage. Just wholesome vibes all around. Hinata and Sasuke. Honestly, when I first heard about this one, I laughed. Mainly because these two have never interacted, spoken, or even thought about each other. I'm sure they had at least known of each other, like Sasuke being the second born of the Uchiha's main family and Hinata the Hyuga heiress once upon a time. But beyond that, nothing. Now, when you mix in fanon though, things start to get interesting. Hinata, not being a fangirl and treating Sasuke just as he is, could make him see her as like a safe space. Like he's still tsundere, don't get me wrong, like he's still guarded, but Hinata would be someone he could actually relax around after the chaos of training and the loneliness of being at home alone. Hinata, in turn, would notice that same relentless, almost manic determination in him, the drive to become strong enough to bring justice to his clan, and that would move her. It would make her wonder, would she ever go that far for the people she loves? And if so, how will she even get to that point? Like, the healing potential between these two, especially as adults, could be so good. You'd finally see Sasuke open up, show vulnerability, and Hinata would have the patience to hold that space. Meanwhile, Sasuke would admire Hinata's attempts to grow her physical strength and quiet confidence, while Hinata's steadiness would help balance his emotional walls. And let's be real, seeing Hinata become more outspoken and protective because of Sasuke's social awkwardness, that is adorable. That's great character growth for both. Plus, the most important question of all, would their baby have the Byakugan or the Sharingan? Or both? Or some new third thing that we've never seen before? Honestly, the fan art potential alone is just delicious. Hinata and Neji. So I know some people instantly get the ick with this one, and yeah, that's fair. They're first cousins. I get it. I also dislike the first cousin pairing of Ciel and Elizabeth in Black Butler. But here's the thing. It's not actually a bad pairing. And honestly, it makes the most sense within the Hyuga world building. Hear me out. Cousin marriages happened all the time in prestigious noble houses, even in Japan, to keep the wealth or bloodline pure. And in the Hyuga's case, it's all about protecting the Byakugan, keeping outsiders from accessing clan secrets. So if we're being realistic about it, an arranged marriage between Hinata and Neji from childhood would have made total sense, especially after how dirty they did Neji's father. Let's talk about that for a second. Hizashi, Neji's dad, was Hiyashi's twin brother. Born to the main branch, he should have lived like Hanabi, but nope, he gets cast into the side branch, branded like a family slave, and then his son gets the same fate. And when the Cloud Village demanded Hiyashi's body after their diplomat got himself killed trying to kidnap Hinata, the literal heiress, Hizashi volunteered to die in his brother's place. Like, the level of betrayal and political nonsense is just stupid. So yeah, if Hiyashi had any sense of honor, arranging a union between Hinata and Neji later in life would have actually made things right. It would have healed the family divide, united the branches, and abolished that hideous birdcage seal once and for all. Now, back Back to the ship itself, it's doable. In fact, it could have been cinematic. Neji's early contempt for Hinata, that resentment before Naruto beats the arrogance out of him, that's just perfect slow burn material. Then he starts seeing her hard work, and we all know that Neji respects hard work. Add in the fact that he dies protecting her in canon, for nonsense by the way, but he still does it. The bond that these two have, it basically writes itself. Like, it all made sense and it was all there. We literally could have had it all. Let me get out of here before I get mad again. Hinata and Sakura. So this is a cute one, mostly for fanfiction, but I can see it working. Sakura is always conscientious of others, especially towards someone as shy and quiet as Hinata. She would make sure Hinata has her time to be heard and that her opinions are valid. If anyone tries to steamroll Hinata, Sakura will be defending her and chastising the offending person. However, much like Naruto, Sakura has her fiery moments, and it's important for Hinata to learn to speak up and assert herself, because if it's Sakura doing all of the work, the relationship is going to feel one-sided. But other than that, this definitely has potential for any fanfiction writers. Sakura and Ino. The besties to lovers arc practically writes itself, much like Naruto and Sasuke, but with actual emotional stability. Honestly, their connection might even be stronger than Naruto and Sasuke's, and I will die on that hill. Not only did Ino and Sakura have a falling out, but they still managed to find their way back to each other, forgive, and even become stronger friends afterwards. What they have is real. It's honest, supportive, and sometimes a little competitive in the cutest way. They tease each other constantly, but they're always in sync. If anyone tries to mess with one of them, the other is immediately on defense. It's such a common sense ship to me that I'm never surprised people are into it. The chemistry is natural, the loyalty is mutual, and the aesthetic, gorgeous. Flawless. Though I will say, the anime robbing Ino of her long, flowy hair from chapter 700 is absolutely criminal. You two Ikemoto, it's like they all want them to look ugly, I swear to G. Kakashi and Guy. So this one's just fun to me. Canon-wise, yeah, Kakashi would probably look at everyone with the warding off evil hand sign, but in fanon, these two already have such a solid dynamic as friends that it's basically the foundation of a slow burn romance. Guy literally forced Kakashi to warm up to him growing up, from rivalry to respect to full-on ride or die energy. Kakashi may act aloof, but he respects Guy's skill and stubborn optimism more than he'll ever admit. And the fact that they're retired together, tell me that's not a setup for a wholesome grumpy sunshine old married ninja arc. It's doable, it's cute, it's canon adjacent fanon perfection. Also, that photo of Guy cross-dressing, you know the one, hand flicking his hair over his shoulder, Kakashi just standing there judging him or wanting the ground to swallow him whole. Yeah, that image lives rent-free in my brain. Absolute gold. I cannot get over it. Karin and Suigetsu. Personally, I don't like this pairing. It feels like a cop-out. The kind of shit people only support because Karin doesn't get in the way of Sakura and Sasuke's relationship. No one particularly cares about this ship or makes much fan art for it. It's not an impossible ship to imagine. Proximity alone can make people curious. And sure, it has potential if someone writes it well. But otherwise, Karin's not into anyone who isn't Sasuke. She literally breathes for that man, whether it's platonic or romantic. Even in Gaiden, Suigetsu himself points out that Karin still has a thing for Sasuke, and Karin never really denies it. Not to mention that she treats Suigetsu like he's annoying, even after all this time. Maybe they mellowed out over time, but honestly, you need a really strong fanfiction to sell me on this one. And here's the kicker. People who ship these two but are against Naruto and Sakura are hypocrites. The dynamics are nearly identical, which just proves that it was never about genuinely liking one pairing. It was about tearing the other one down or getting it out of the way. Now, these upcoming ships are basically the ones that you know will never be found in canon, but is fun to speculate, especially in fanon. First on the list, Kakashi and Iruka. I know this is a popular ship, much like Guy and Kakashi, and honestly, I can't see it. Yes, on the surface, I'm sure it's sweet, but mostly from Iruka's side. I can only really see Kakashi getting into it if he likens Iruka to resembling Minato and kind of obsessing over the gentle, good-natured aspects of Iruka's personality. Again, it's not a terrible ship, and it definitely has potential for something good, but it's a hard sell for me, honestly. But if you know of a good fanfiction, do let me know. Kakashi and Kurenai. I feel like this is another hard sell just because Asuma has such a presence and Kurenai definitely comes across like a girl who likes long-term commitment plans. Maybe it can develop when Kurenai is widowed, but I just don't see it. Kudos to you if you love the dynamic, keep shipping it, and I support you all the way. And if you know some good fanfiction, again, please let me know, but otherwise, Kakashi and Genma. I feel like this one is for the people who just want a good time. In fact, these two would be in it for a good time, but not a long time, personally. Genma is such a cool up and atom type character, maybe like a flirt, I don't know, while Kakashi is so non-committal. It's hot, but not long lasting. But that's just my opinion. Hinata and Gaara. Okay, so this one goes out to my middle school bestie, Bob-chan, who no longer goes by Bob-chan, but instead Izzy. Love you, girl. Hope you're out there thriving. When I first got exposed to this pairing, I thought it was the most wild, out there, impossible crackship ever. Like Hinata, quiet, mouse-like, barely speaks above a whisper Hinata, with unhinged, trauma-ridden, emotionally neglected Gaara. I couldn't fathom it. But then I read some fanfiction that she recommended, and it clicked. This pairing could work. Hinata is the eye of Gaara's storm, especially if you start from when they're 12, which, now that I think about it, is wild. They both have gentle hearts, and Hinata would be such a grounding, calming influence on him. Post-time skip, Gaara's matured so much, and the growth would only continue as he gets older. With him acting as Hinata's safe space, Hinata could finally express herself without fear or ridicule, and in turn, Gaara would have someone patient, devoted, and kind. Someone who gives to him the way he gives to the Suna village. It's soft, it's sweet, it's wholesome. Honestly, it's great. Toneri and Sakura. Now, this is the epitome of a crack ship. Honestly, I didn't even know this one existed until I stumbled on the fan art, and that's when I saw the vision. Never mind that the concept of Toneri and the Moon Clan is random as hell and pure Studio Period trying to make Naruhina happen. In canon, no, absolutely not. Toneri's entire personality in the last revolves around moonlight, obsession, and delusion. And that movie, I hated it. He was more of a plot device than an actual person. There's just no way this version of Toneri could ever make something healthy work with anyone, let alone Sakura. But in fanon, it kind of tracks. Picture this, Sakura doesn't let anything slide, so she'd absolutely push back if Toneri ever tried his celestial superiority nonsense. That challenge would actually intrigue him, especially if you write him as like post-redemption, trying to unlearn his cult mindset. Sakura's empathy and blunt honesty could be exactly what Toneri needs to understand people again, to realize the world isn't black and white. I can see her teaching him humility, compassion. Basically, Toneri learns to be human and Sakura helps him get there. So yeah, canon Toneri, one-dimensional. Fanon Toneri, give me a well-written redemption AU and my life is yours. If anyone knows a good fanfiction with this dynamic, please hook a sister up. Now this segment focuses on the emotional side of shipping, the ones that hit you right in the feels, not because they're toxic or problematic, but because they deal with unhealed trauma, unrequited love, missed potential, or emotional intimacy that never got the chance to exist. These are the ships that make fans sigh instead of scream, the if only they'd met sooner or they understood each other too well to last kind of pairs, the ones that leave you quietly devastated in the best way. Sasuke and no one. Honestly, this is really the ideal ship for Sasuke. Yes, his looks and pouty, broody personality would be a waste, but this man is so damaged in nearly every inconceivable way that he really needs to focus on himself and improve instead of being forced into a traditional marriage and relationship that he's not ready for, because look how well that turned out. So I'm partial to this particular ship. This way Sasuke just gets peace and we don't have a fan ship war on our hands. Sasuke and therapy. Even better than the Sasuke and no one ship is the Sasuke and therapy ship. I mean it, that man needs help, professional help. From age 7 onward, he's been carrying enough trauma to fill like 5 data books. Itachi's tough love didn't help, and Konoha apparently has zero mental health infrastructure for their traumatized child soldiers. Either Sasuke never received it, or it's so bad that it literally didn't work. Considering his grand plan later involved mass murder and dictatorship, definitely didn't work. Honestly, communication alone would have done wonders for Sasuke. Half of Shippuden's plot could have been avoided if someone, anyone, had just handed this man a therapist, a journal, and maybe a weighted blanket. Gaara and Fu. Now, this one kind of hurts, not because it's toxic, but because it could have worked. This particular ship wouldn't have occurred to me, I'll admit, until someone brought it up, but upon reflection, I realized they're actually kind of fitting. Both Gaara and Fu were Jinchuriki, both were hated by their villages, both wanted to connect with others. Gaara found redemption through Naruto. Fu didn't get that chance. If these two had met earlier, they could have healed together, like two lonely souls learning they weren't monsters, but just victims of a broken system. It's the kind of ship that's not about romance so much as emotional understanding. They wouldn't need grand gestures or dramatic declarations, just someone who gets it. So yeah, Gaara and Fu would have been awesome, and it's kind of painful because it never really happened, unfortunately. Naruto and Gaara. This is another obvious one I can see working well because Gaara adores Naruto already as friends, and Naruto considers himself a close friend of Gaara's simply for being himself. It helps that they're both Jinchuriki and have shared similar traumas and struggles, childhood loneliness, same inner monster, that desperate craving for love and belonging. They literally mirror each other, much like Gaara and Fu. Seriously, Naruto and Gaara is emotional damage in its purest form, but like the good kind, you know, like therapy through mutual trauma. The difference is that Naruto found his people and Gaara found sand. They were both isolated as children, hated by their villages, and forced to suppress who they were just to survive. And then when they finally meet, it's like watching two ghosts realize that they're not alone anymore. Like, you can't tell me that didn't change both of them on a soul level. Even if you don't ship them romantically, Naruto and Gaara is one of the most emotionally intimate relationships in the series. They don't just fight each other, they heal each other, which is exactly why I love it. Easily one of my top favorite crack ships that has that extra emotional punch to it. All right, now this segment pretty much speaks for itself, so get ready for Sasori and DAYDAY'S. So this one I've seen around for ages, and I picture these two as like the gay older couple living next door who share similarities, but also sassily argue with each other because they can, and they think their partner is woefully and pitifully wrong. The topic in this case being art, but other than that, mutual respect and even admiration for the uniqueness each of them carries. So I really don't blame people for shipping this one. It can definitely work. Kasame and Itachi. Personally, I don't see this one working romantically. It's way too one-sided for that, but I do understand why people are drawn to it. There's an undeniable bond between them built on mutual respect, trust, and shared disillusionment within the shinobi world. Kasame's loyalty to Itachi pretty much borders on reverence. He admires him, protects him, and even fears him a little. There's this quiet devotion in the way that Kasame follows Itachi's lead without question, not out of blind obedience, mind you, but because he genuinely respects the man's strength and conviction. Itachi, on the other hand, keeps that distance. He trusts Kasame more than most, but he's not emotionally available to anyone, especially not while secretly working as a Konoha spy. He compartmentalizes everything, and Kasame just happens to be the one who doesn't demand explanations. So while I don't ship these two romantically, I can appreciate the dynamic because there is one. It's a partnership through tragedy. Two men who understand what it means to serve something bigger than themselves, even if it means losing who they are in the process. Conan and Naruto. I'm not gonna lie, this one's kind of random. Someone mentioned it to me in the comments, and I had to stop and think about it because it's not actually an impossible ship. Naruto at this point could pull anyone. Men, women, ex-villains, doesn't matter. He has that main character empathy that just makes people fall in line. And with Conan, that compassion would go a long way. He wouldn't try to change her, he'd just let her be, which is something she's probably never really had. For Conan, Naruto would remind her of Yahiko, not just in looks, but in conviction. She'd see the same idealism, the same belief in peace, and it would make her soften. I can see her becoming quietly protective of him, maybe even devoted, without ever trying to cross that line. Naruto, though, he'd get there eventually, not because he set out to, but because he would see the parts of Conan that never stopped believing, even after everything she lost. It's tender, tragic, and definitely believable. And that concludes the couples so far. I'm sure there's more I could have mentioned, but I think this will do for now. Now we enter the next segment of this video, which is the speed round, so get ready. Much like the last video, I'm going to try to fit some remainder Naruto couples and give my spicy opinion, but in a 60-second speed round. So are you ready? Get set. Let's go. The basic canon couple that everyone accepts, definitely angst-filled though. Another basic acceptable canon couple, only with even more angst because Conan never got to do anything remotely romantic with Yahiko and instead has his reanimated corpse. I feel like this one was a consolation. Doable, but This was random, but I can see Ino seducing him in the future. Yamato would be that steady presence she would like, and he would easily fold to nearly any and all of her whims. Cute and definitely possible. Genma would be acting pretty flirty, and Shizune would be acting like a flustered tsundere. It's doable if ever Shizune tracks this man down for his physical and has a conversation with him. Like, I can see Shizune becoming fond of Kakashi quick once he acts briefly in some vulnerable manner. Not sure how this one came to be, but I feel like it would be quite the roller coaster of a relationship. Someone suggested this one, and it's kind of low-key brilliant. I can see it. Because my girl is the most forgotten side character ever, and she deserves someone, anyone, free my girl of neglect. And done. And that is it for this video, you sparkling individuals. I am glad you made it through. Here's all the completed ships in my simple but complicated doodle style, which will be posted on DAYDAY'S.com and my Instagram. If you made it this far, you are officially part of the Daylight Union, so go ahead and hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments. I will be reading them. And check out the other controversial ship videos on the channel. I got a whole playlist for you. If you want to support my work and my next great thing, or just help keep the lights glowing around here, you can join my Patreon. It really helps me keep making these deep dive videos and fun breakdowns for you all. If you enjoyed this video, then you will probably love my Naruto Ship Opinions Part 1 video if you haven't already seen it, or my Naruto playlist filled with romance analysis and other controversial opinions. It's all linked right there. Remember to be kind, but don't take no shit. Until next time.